So thank you so much for joining us, guys. We are into our second week of Scripts and Dialogue Club. I'm not sure how many of you joined us with Kelly Tatlow last week, but that was an excellent kickoff session, just getting everybody ready. If you did miss that one and you would like the recording, just hit me up. My email address is bdenham@raywhite.com. That was about another 45-minute session, just about getting your head right, getting yourself prepared for more successful outcomes on the calls. This is the agenda for the remaining session. So today we're talking about dialogue to build databases, gathering geodata. We're going to start with a little bit of context and a little bit of why we do this before we get into the how. As you can see, following on that's the content. Following every 2 weeks, we run these sessions at the same time. So the content does get more complex over the weeks. So you might look at this content and go, maybe it's not all relevant for me where I am right now. Or for some of you who've been in the industry a bit longer, you might say possibly sessions 4, 5, 6, and 7 might be more up your alley. So today we are getting into gathering data, building our databases. Now, I can't stress how important this is. This is what a real estate business is. I'm just going to do another shout out for those of you who've jumped in late. If you can please put your cameras on, we would love it. Mandeep, Ahmad, John, great to see you with your cameras on there. Please, we would love as many cameras on as we possibly can. Thank you, Angela. You're looking fabulous. So this is what a real estate business is. It is a database. Yes, you can find listings, you can find opportunities by being out and about, by marketing yourself, by putting DLs out, by happening upon people. But if you want to take control of your real estate business, it begins and ends with the database. So this is the foundation. It is the most important part. And any one of you who's worked with me individually, you'll know that I feel very passionately about it, and I don't shut up about it. So today we're going to talk about how to do this effectively. We're going to start by asking the question, what is geodata? So this is a bit of a Ray White term, geodata. Does anybody on the call know what I'm talking about when I say geodata? So unmute yourself.
It's
geodata for your database, 5 pieces.
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
4 pieces of sorry, I think.
Charmaine, go ahead.
So it's 5 pieces of data. So it's name, full name, mobile, email address, and permission to contact.
Perfect. Excellent. Mandeep, did you want to add anything to that?
So that's all I want to say. It's morely name, number, phone number, email, and home address.
Yeah, great. And permission is important. Charmaine's got that last piece. It is crucial. The privacy policy is getting more stringent in all of your various states are slightly different. So permission to contact is key. And hey, you have to have a conversation with someone to get permission. So this data really has to be obtained because you've had a conversation either on the phone or face-to-face, ideally. So that's what we're talking about in geodata in the world of Ray White. Geo, because we would like it to be in a geographically sort of centralized zone. Depending on where you're working, which state, which suburb, that'll be more acute than others. Some of you will be working in very densely populated areas, others will be a little bit more spread out. But yeah, that's generally what we're talking about. We're talking about geodata. So when I'm talking about gathering data, building your database, it's on that pretext of a homeowner in your core market, and you've got their first name, last name, mobile phone, property address that they own. They have to be a property owner. Ideally email address as well, and permission to contact. So we're all on the same track there. So what can a good database do? I know this slide looks pretty gross and there's a lot of stuff on there, but I'll talk you through it. I've got two candidates from South Australia. I know these guys really well. Bailey's just going to send this screenshot to Mark O'Mara, I think, just to let him know we made him world famous. Ben Murphy works with Mark, so you can tell him all about this. So this is Mark O'Mara. Mark O'Mara works in a beautiful place called the Clare Valley. He is actually the principal at Ray White Clare Valley. This is a screenshot from the REA profile for Find an Agent in Clare. And you can see that Mark has sold 86 properties in the area in the last 12 months, and the next nearest agent has sold 21 properties. So if we drill into this, I've studied Mark. I know him really well. I know his business really well. So Mark has got 55% of the geodata for Claire in his database. So that means
Wow.
more than 1 in every 2 people in the town is in Mark's database. 48% of the listings that came to the market in the last 12 months were in Mark's database. And he listed 76 from the database in 1 year. So that is a really, like, this is the most compelling example I personally have seen. It's regional. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. You know, Ben can tell you about Mark's data management processes offline if you'd like, but he's doing a really good job. Another example, so this is Sam Payton. Sam works in a metro part of Adelaide. So he works suburbs of Marion and Oaklands Park. So probably around about 6 or 7 Ks out of the CBD of Adelaide. So you can see there, Sam in Marion, he sold 30 properties in that core suburb in the last 12 months. His next nearest competitor has sold 4. So the numbers aren't as high, but that, you know, the ratio of how much he's dominating the suburb is very similar to that of what Mark's doing. He has approximately 35% of the suburb of Marion's data in his database. And he had almost 30% of the available listings that came to the market in the last 12 months in the database. And he listed 43 in 1 year from the database. So this is a couple of case studies of what we're trying to achieve, right? What we want to do when we talk about gathering data and putting people into your database and talking to them frequently, this is the outcome that we're trying to replicate. And for some of you, it'll be obvious. For other people, you might need some convincing about working. You know, we talk about geodata, core geodata being in a close geographic range. When you are focusing in on one suburb or one patch, your efforts are almost magnified, because every time you do something in the suburb, all of those people that you're talking to can see that. You know, if you're just sort of taking stuff, a scattergun approach here, there and everywhere, the impact of your marketing activities around all of those disparate listings doesn't compound. So what you're seeing here is compounding effects of someone focusing on a suburb, focusing on a town, continuing to do really well, and then staying in touch with those people and listing well from the database. So this is what we're trying to achieve. This is the why of our session. Value of geodata. Some of you would have seen this slide if you've done the Gathering Leads part of the Sales Academy. I have pinched it from there. I've tweaked this a little bit. I've actually made these numbers relevant to South Australia. I did put this session together with South Australia in mind, but everyone is welcome. So if these numbers don't relate to your core market, you can get the calculator. I can share the slide deck with you if you reach out to me afterwards, and you can actually tweak the numbers that represent your marketplace. But I've worked on South Australian numbers here. We're talking about a volume market. So this is looking at an example of a database of 500 homeowners with an average sale price of $540,000 per property. That means at a 2% commission rate, we're looking at approximately $10,800 commission per sale. So all of these things can be changed to reflect your marketplace if you would like. We're looking at a typical sales turnover rate of 8%. I actually did try and find some stats on turnover rates. I'm sure they've increased. I mean, 8% is like a typical standard Australian sales turnover rate. Some of your suburbs and towns will turn over less than that if they're really tightly held. So you'll know if you're working in one of those destination areas where people get into and then they don't leave. Whereas others will be working in higher turnover suburbs. So I would really encourage you to work out what the turnover rate is in your particular suburb to do this fully accurately. But 8% is pretty well bog standard across Australia. So this database of 500 homeowners should give me 40 opportunities every year. If I convert every one of those opportunities based on 2% and $540,000 sale price, that 500 database is worth $432,000 a year. Now that's working on converting 100%. I haven't seen anyone convert 100% of what's available in their database. I'll be honest with you. We don't have a benchmark as to what a good data to list ratio is. It's a little sort of passion project I'm working on the side. So I'll come back to you at some point and tell you once we've studied a few more agents and got a bit of an understanding of that. I think Nurture Cloud's going to help us with benchmarks. For those of you who are starting and you're new and you're wondering how many people should I be adding to my database, I've put a little target or a a goal down the bottom here, the 500 at 8 per day will take 12 weeks to build. Now, I know some of you have gone through the journey of building a database. Some of you are starting it. Some of you may already have a mature database you're looking to train other people. I think somewhere between 5 and 10 pieces of geodata per day, if that's your job, if you're new and you're building a database or your primary role is to build data, I think that is a good rate of growth. And I think it's important for you to understand that, because you might be coming into a business, you might not be given much context around a good rate of data growth. You might be sent out to knock on doors and find listings. The chance of you going out and knocking on a door and finding a listing today is pretty slim. It depends how long you door knock for, it depends how skillful you are, it depends what sort of stories you've got to tell. It's pretty slim. So if you go out there with that as your end goal in mind, you might come back to the office at the end of the day feeling pretty demoralized. But if you had a different goal, which was, I'm going to go out door knocking today and I have to meet 8 homeowners and I have to have a good conversation with them so that I can get their information and put it into my database so that I can form a meaningful relationship, well, you might feel like that's a little bit more achievable. And I think for new people starting in our industry, that is a good goal to have. So that's my little challenge there. Some of you will do it quicker, some of you will do it slower. But I would suggest if you're brand new starting out, what do I do? What is the first thing that I focus on? That 500 homeowners, I think that's sort of getting to the first, it's not the top of Mount Everest, but it's certainly a really great base camp to have. You'll start to get some volume of opportunities coming out of that much data. Before I push on, are there any questions about the context we've set up so far? No, it's all sound. We're all following. Great. Okay, so why are some people better at gathering data than others? You know, some people just go out there, you might say they have the gift of the gab. Others find it really terrifying to pick up the phone. We had a speaker talk to our network. Some of you may have joined in. We had Sam Payton talking. He's the gentleman that I highlighted earlier, who's, you know, one of our most successful agents in the network here in South Australia for the last 5 years. He comments that he still gets nervous making phone calls. He still gets like knots in his stomach, but he knows that making the phone calls are the key to making money. And he wants to make money. He wants to give his family a good life. So for those of you on the call who are call averse, and that's what I would call it, you know, sometimes you might find yourself prioritizing other things instead of making the phone calls. I believe a lot of call aversion is about not feeling fully prepared for when things go wrong. Sometimes you want to feel like you've got answers to questions you might not be able to answer. Then I won't make the phone call, or I won't knock on the door. You can get past this, and preparation and thinking about how to have these conversations will help. So what we're trying to tackle with these sessions. So why are some people better than others? People sometimes are not prepared for a no. Okay, so let's think about the average turnover rate of 8%. I'm going to go door knocking. I'm going to go and meet 8 homeowners. If I knock on 20 doors or 25 doors at a rate of 8%, if let's say 25 people answer the door, how many people are in real estate mode? I think it's half a person, right? Is it half a person or is it 1? Bailey, are you right? Somewhere between 0.5 and 1, I should know that. But it's not many people who are going to be in real estate mode. So logic dictates that you have to be prepared as soon as you roll up on the door and say, hi, I'm Bianca and I'm from a real estate company, that they're going to go, no thanks, not selling. I'm not interested, because only I'm in the 92% who are not in real estate mode. So we go out there looking for a listing or looking for someone who wants to talk to us, or we pick up the phone looking for someone who wants to talk to us, but naturally 92% are not going to be thinking of talking to us. So you've got to prepare yourself for that. So we've got to think about adding value. And that comes with the tools that we have. We can use Ray White Now, we can use the Suburb Flyover, we can use listings and sales. You know, that information about the listing coming to the market or the sale happening in the market, that's a tool that we can use. We can access that information maybe we sold the property, someone in our office sold the property, or we can find out if our competitors did, and we can disseminate that knowledge to the community. That's a tool for us to use. So being prepared, going out there and saying, I'm going to knock on 25 doors, I'm going to knock on 50 doors, and everyone is actually going to say no to me. So go out there with that knowledge, and I'm going to find a way of overcoming that no. Okay, so don't go out there thinking everyone's going to say, yes, we've got a house to sell, where do I sign? You're going to set yourself up for failure. Be prepared for the no. Scripting recovery dialogue. So we're going to touch on that in a moment. I want your input around that. Tone and energy is huge. That's what Kelly was talking about last week. The way that you approach the phone call, the way that you approach the door, a smile on your face, having great energy. As Kelly said last week, being really nice and having good energy will actually get you pretty far. Couple that with good preparation and some good dialogue, and you're going to be unstoppable. I know when our guys get really good at this, when they get their dialogue for themselves right, their energy's right, the answer to core geo conversion rate can get up 80% plus. You know, so if you're a homeowner and you answer the door and you talk to me, 8 or 9 out of 10 are going to say yes when it's scripted really well. So I don't want you to think that it's impossible to get people to say yes to you. They're going to say no. We've got to overcome it. We've got to give them good value. And as we get better over time, that conversion rate will improve. The last piece, the long-term mindset. So what I said to you before, we're about building a database right now. We're not about, if we find a listing, fantastic, but we're about building a database. This is where we are. This part of this session of dialogue is around being at the beginning, building a business, which is building a database. So if you go out there just looking for a listing, we're going to come back disappointed. If we go out there looking for 5 to 10 homeowners to create a meaningful impression with and permission to have ongoing communication, then we're going to be winning. All good? Any comments or questions around that? Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go straight for the hardest conversation I think anyone can have in real estate, aside from telling an owner that they're $200,000 overpriced, maybe. So we're going for the cold call, door knock, collecting geodata. So as Kelly said last week or last session, you're interrupting people who are going about their day-to-day lives, just living their life out in the world. And here we come along, a real estate agent, and we're trying to engage with them. I really think this is about as hard as it gets. So what I'm going to show you now is something that some of you may have already seen and heard. It's not new, but we're actually going to take the opportunity to practice it and learn it. So remember, we need to address the internal questions, who you are and what do you want. So this is where that first session dialogue that Kelly was giving us. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Bianca Denham from Ray White Real Estate in the Clare Valley. I wouldn't say may I speak with because I don't know who you are, but I'm going to get to the point. The purpose of my call, the reason I'm passing by today is, so this script here, some of you may or may not have seen, it is the stock standard Ray White obtaining geodata script. Essentially what it is, and you don't have to take photos of the screen, you can, I can share this content with you, just send me an email, I'll share it with you. So good morning, good afternoon, it's my name from Ray White in the suburb. The reason or the purpose for my call is to let you know that we've prepared this fantastic market update. It's completely free of charge, keeps you up to date with what's happening in the area. Would you prefer to receive it by post or email? So you can tweak those parts in the middle about the detail of what you're offering. You could call it a suburb flyover. You might have Ray White now. The most important part is that closing statement. Would you prefer to receive it via post or email? What is that question not? It's not a yes, no question, is it? It's not a closing question. It's not a no thanks, goodbye, door in your face. So I'm really friendly, I'm really lovely. This is what we're here for. We've got this completely free of charge market update. Just, it's what's happening in the real estate market. Would you prefer to receive it by post or email? Just by show of hands, who is using this script out in the marketplace? Or a version of this script? Okay, so Bailey, Mandeep, Ben is, John is, Charmaine is using it. Great. Okay. So for those of you who have done this type of prospecting, what is the most common response that you get at this point? Sheridan and Adrian have fantastic. What's the most common response you get when you open the conversation? Hello, I'm Bianca, I'm from Ray White, I'm a real estate person, la, 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 post or email. What do people say?
Email.
Oh, so they go email straight away, Mandeep. That's great. Anyone else?
Most likely email, but I've had really few. They said, give us a hard copy or post us.
Okay. Does anyone get any other type of response?
I get,
Sorry?
I'm not looking to sell a lot of the time.
Fantastic, John. 100%. I'm not looking to sell. Does anyone get anything else?
I would say neither, just personally.
Yep. So no thanks.
Yeah.
No, not interested. So this is the inevitable no, right? So that is what happens. Mandeep's obviously better than me because he gets just the email bang first shot.
No, I was actually answering in that sense when they agree.
You're not wrong, by the way. I'm just teasing you. Look, some people will say, some people will say, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But you remember what Kelly was saying last week was we're interrupting people. They're like, who is this? Like, who is calling me? Who's knocking on my door? Like almost a little bit angry about that or frustrated or I don't know this person. I'm doing something. I'm at work. I'm at home. I'm out. I'm in a meeting. I'm at the doctor's. I'm doing something and you're interrupting me. And so my first reflex is to push you out of my world. So expect them to say no. Expect them to say neither. Expect them to say, I'm not selling. That's going to happen. So what a lot of the time when they say no, or I'm not selling, or neither, they're actually saying in part, I actually don't understand what you're talking about because I just picked up the phone 5 seconds ago and all I've heard is Ray White, post or email. I'm actually still thinking about the thing I was doing, to be honest. I don't know what you're talking about. Most of the time they're saying, tell me again. Oh, Ben has weighed in as well. His mic's not working. He said he normally gets not interested, thanks. Then if he gets a chance to explain, then happy to receive via email. Exactly the point that I was making there. So this script on the right here is an example of a recovery script. So when you do the concierge communication course, what they teach you to think about is when you're going to get hit with that rejection, the inevitable no, sometimes we want to go like, oh, okay, I've got nothing. See you, thanks. Like we're just so like mortified. I'm going to crumble and move on. You have to accept the rejection in a positive way. So you can see that opening line. That's perfectly fine. Absolutely, I totally understand. So take it on the chin, have that positive recovery line, gives your brain a second to recalibrate. Okay, they actually don't really understand. I'm going to have another go at explaining it and see if I can get them this time. The report is not about buying or selling. It'll keep you up to date with sale prices in the area. There's currently 30 to 40% of Adelaide residents receiving it. They're not thinking of selling either. Look, can I just give it to you in the post or send you an email? You can have a look at it. So essentially what I'm doing, I'm giving a bit more information and I'm trying again. I'm restating my question. Can I get you a copy by post or email? Now, Mandeep, you made the comment when you do manage to get them to agree, they normally take email. So John, you said, I'm not thinking of selling. Do you find a lot of the time when you go and do that recovery script, you get a lot of them who come back on board?
Yes, that was my point. So when I try to convince, then they come back to email or
that's
they
great.
choose post very rarely. Yes.
Excellent, Mandeep. John, yourself?
Yeah. I always I just sort of recover by saying no, that's fine. I'm just calling to introduce myself. And like you said before, a lot of the time, the first time they just don't know what you're talking about. So when you reiterate it and sort of like explain it and make it really clear that it has nothing to do with selling their property, they always usually say yes. They're just like, oh, okay, I understand now.
Excellent.
They hear real estate and think that we're trying to get money. So
yeah, and so there's some things in this script here completely free of charge. You know, that little line there about 30 to 40% of the neighborhood getting it, that's to do the old, oh, well, if the neighbors are getting it, I want to get it. When I was doing your job, when I was starting out, I used to, my intro was, we've had a phone call from one of the neighbors looking for information on what the suburb's doing. And I put this report together, so I thought I'd reach out and see if you'd like a copy by post or email. So I just dangled that neighbor carrot right at the beginning. I found that was effective for me. So play around with it. You'll come up with your own script. Don't waffle, but understand that saying things like it's completely free of charge, getting that into your script somehow will allay fears, because people are assuming you're calling, you're door knocking. Okay, you want my credit card details, you want money, you want to list my house, or you want money from me. So you have to allay those fears. You know, John's dialogue in there, I'm just introducing myself, that can work really well, just softening it back. So obviously if they say yes, that's great. We move straight on to collecting their information. And if they say no that second time, look, it's up to you. I think 3 attempts is probably about as many as you can hit. As your skills get greater and you feel more confident at offering appraisals or talking about investment properties, some guys will do a really good job of just trying to deflect at that point. So I've asked you twice, I've explained what it is. The really great guys will go, look, I totally understand. And then they might just try and engage them in a friendly conversation. We're not going to go down the track of all the options, but you know, sometimes you can find just by, look, I totally understand. Look, that's perfectly fine. Hey, you know, you've got a beautiful home here. Do you mind if I ask how long you've been here? Some people will just take it down that track, get them talking, and then go, well, you've been here for 25 years. When's the last time you got an update on the value? And they'll move down the appraisal track. But for now, we're working on offering the product twice. And then if they say no twice, we're just going to say, thank you so much. Hey, could I leave my card? If you've ever got any real estate needs, I'd be more than happy to help in any way that I possibly can. I think that's a perfectly good sign off, but I think just going in and asking once and retreating at the first rejection is not being comprehensive enough. As I said, once we get our dialogue right, our energy is right, if they're a homeowner and you're talking to them either on the phone or face-to-face, I think you should be able to get at least 50% say yes. If you're offering them just free information, keeping them updated about the suburb, no selling, no obligation. Charmaine, did you have a question?
Oh,
No? Oh, good. I thought you were raising your hand. Oh, good. Okay, so I'm going to try and put you guys in breakout rooms, but I don't know if you're still going to be able to see the presentation. So Gawler team, because there's 4 of you in the room, I'll get you to do it together. Is there anyone else who's working with the team? Jasmine, are you going to be role playing with your friend, or will you do that with someone else? Someone else. Is anyone else there with the team? Fiona, have you got a couple of people in the room there with you? Yep. So I'll keep you out. I'll try and manually assign. What I might do is manually assign Bailey and Fiona together, but just turn your screen and your microphone off. Role play with your teams. So everyone else is going to be put randomly together with someone on this call. So one of you has to be the agent and one of you has to be the homeowner. And this is the script that we're going to do. You can pretend you're door knocking. You can pretend you're on a call. I don't mind. The reason for my call is we've put together this suburb report, market update, Ray White Now, whichever one you want to use. It's completely free of charge. Would you prefer to receive it by post or email? That's the crux of it. Expect the no. So whoever is the homeowner, I want you to say, nah, thanks, not selling, not interested, and then go for that recovery script. It's perfectly fine. It's not about buying or selling. Your neighbors are getting it. Why don't I just drop it in the post, or why don't I just shoot one through on email? See how you go. When you're taking the information, first name, last name, mobile phone, email, do it in that order. First name, last name, mobile phone, email address. If you're on the phone, you'll need to grab the property address as well. So I'm going to try and do this breakout room thing. I'll give you, I'm going to give you like 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and see how we're going. So let me manually assign. No. Okay, so this is going to be 2 to 3 participants per room. I'll come and find where those groups are and I'll sort that out. Okay, guys, here we go. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Did you get your breakout room, guys?
Yeah, right.
Can you get into your breakout rooms, guys? No? Can you see that coming through?
Hi, Bianca. Sorry. I tried joining on my computer and it wasn't letting me hop in.
That's okay. I'll get the guys to come out of the breakout rooms shortly. I'll get the guys to come out of the breakout rooms shortly, so we'll conclude that we'll commence the content again. So you've only just jumped in now, is that right?
Sorry, guys. I jumped in on my computer and for some reason, maybe it needs an update or something. It just wasn't having any of it.
Okay.
And I couldn't hear the person that I was in the breakout room with.
Okay, that's all right.
Sorry.
No worries. I might bring everybody out. Thanks for that.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
I am in another state.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We've got people from all over.
Okay, beautiful.
You're more than welcome. So we're going to bring them back in now. Those rooms will close. I know there's a few that didn't make it through. I think, yeah, for whatever reason they didn't join. Now, I'm not sure how that went, guys. We're all coming back into the main room. Hopefully some of you got something out of it. I know that can be a little bit awkward, especially when you're put in a breakout room with a complete stranger. So by all means, if you didn't get to practice it today, please make sure you go and have a practice. Practice on your family members, on your friends, on your colleagues. Ask your boss if you can do it. It's really awkward. Role play is way worse than doing it in real life. So if you can do role play, you'll be so much more confident when you get out there in front of a real person. So this is the foundation script. Like this, once you learn that I've got this suburb report, I've got this really cool Ray White Now, this amazing market flyover, just tack that on. You can tack that on to the end of any scenario. So if you go
A market
door knock,
report.
yes. Oh, sorry, were you still talking? I'm sorry, whoever that was. We pulled you out. Oh, Rob. Yeah, sorry.
No,
Pulled
it's
you out of
okay.
your room. It sounded great. Well done. Yeah, but you can tack this onto the end of any scenario to try and obtain the geodata. So it's a really great one, really important one to learn. Okay, so recovery dialogue. So one of the main things that I find when people are going out trying to obtain geodata is, especially early on, people who are just starting in real estate, is we'll get a lot of like, I can't get the mobile phone number. So Mandeep may raise that point about the email address versus postal address, but does anyone have trouble getting the mobile phone number? When they're out, you know, okay, if you're calling, you've got the number, but if you're on the door, yeah, Charmaine struggles with that. Does anybody else struggle to get the mobile phone number on the doors? Really, this is talking about? Yep, Adrian is struggling with that. Okay, so the mobile phone number, there will be some people who will just be really private people and really suspicious and not want to give you anything. But they're actually fewer than what you would believe. So the mobile phone number is usually a couple of things. It's usually tone and body language. I'll give you an example. Hi, I'm Bianca, I'm from Ray White. I've got this really great report. It's about what's happening in the suburb. And I was wondering if you'd like to receive it by post or email. Yeah, okay, you can give it to me by email. Oh, great, okay, thanks. What was your name? Bob, and your last name? Smith. Now you said you wanted it by email. Okay, so it's your email, bobsmith@gmail.com. Great. Would it be okay if I got your mobile number? Would you mind if I had your mobile number? So see how I got weird? I was not assertive. I made it sound like it was an option. I became a little bit strange and uncomfortable. The most important thing is the mobile phone number, right? Because if we've got the mobile phone number, we can control the communication. We can text them, we can call them. It's proactive, it's not passive. And it's really high value. And I revealed that in the way that I asked it. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can actually think about when you're standing at an open inspection, right? You've got the tablet in front of you, you've got your mobile phone. We asked for the mobile phone number first, like it's in front of us. It's almost like, for any of you who used to watch Little Britain, remember computer says no, like, you know, the computer system is saying, I need the mobile phone number. You've got to give me the mobile phone number. The form is saying, I've got to fill in all of the fields. So it's about having a device, maybe it's a piece of paper that you've got to fill in all of the fields on the piece of paper. I think if you can have something where you're capturing the data on a tablet is really good, because it's much more easier to say, I have to put all of the information in all the fields, otherwise the system won't accept the data. So work it to your own, however suits your personality. But partly having a device, having a tool can help you, but tone of voice in the way you ask for it. So I would approach that. So Bob's going to have the market review. Fantastic. Who should I address it to? I would use that language. Who should I address it to? Because Bob might actually reveal that there's another person living with Bob that I should address it to. Oh, can you please send it to Bob and Sue? Bob and Sue Downs. Great, Bob and Sue Downs. Fantastic. And the best email, because we're sending it by email, I'd actually go for the mobile phone number second. As I said to you before, first name, last name, mobile phone, then email. So even if Bob has said to me, I'm going to have it by email, please. Who should I address it to? Bob, Sue, and I'd keep my eyes down, tone of voice is saying, and what's the best mobile contact, please? 04. I'd start, you know, 04, start saying the start of the mobile phone number, best mobile contact. I'm not asking if I can have it, I just need the mobile contact. So if you just make those couple of tweaks, for those of you who are struggling to get the mobile phone number, who should I address it to? Best mobile contact, 04. Now, this is where you'll need some recovery dialogue. What if they say to you, just send it by email? What do you need my mobile phone number for? What can you say? What's some good recovery dialogue? I'd like to hear what you do in that situation. Mandeep, I believe that you would have been faced with that scenario in the past. Why do you need my mobile phone number?
So usually what I do, if I ask them, would you like me to give you through email or post? So first I go with their email and then I just keep my eyes down and your contact number, please, 04, and I start most likely to get, and then I get their first name and last name.
Great.
Because
So you
that
use the
thing's
old
in,
eyes down, rolling straight into it, start with a mobile phone.
Yeah.
Great. What do you say if they say, why do you need my mobile number, Mandy?
and if they say, oh, what do you need? Oh, it's just to complete my database if your email doesn't work, so I can send you a SMS just to give you a priority if there is a new listing coming into your area. So I just,
And what percentage of people that you have that conversation with, Mandy, would you say accept that as an answer?
not many, to be honest, because it depends.
But you have a recovery script to get you.
It's
script
totally
giving it a go.
with. Yeah.
You do get some. Okay. Does anyone have any other dialogue?
Sorry, I
that
can't
they
hear
use?
you, Bianca.
Can everybody else hear me okay?
If you
Yeah.
put it in a way to people that it's to benefit them, they're a lot more open. So if you say, oh, that's fine, the reason I want your email is to send you this update as we've discussed, but having your phone number means I can, you know, let you in on new listings when they're coming to market. I like to keep my homeowners informed when other neighbours on their street list, just like simple things that are quick, come off the mind. You know, I like to send my homeowners a text letting them know what's come to market. That's, or like to invite you to a homeowner exclusive open home. You know, it's
Excellent.
easy to get people via text. I don't want to spam your email. Something that makes it seem like it's of benefit to them since they've already given you one piece of information.
Excellent, Rachel. And in your experience, what percentage do you manage to overcome with that line of dialogue?
Oh, yeah, most people are happy to give phone numbers. I haven't found, especially since COVID, people who can't get someone's email and full details, like I question it a little bit because people are so used to giving both pieces of information down. Like you need to give them both. So
Yes. Yeah,
Hey,
great.
Bianca,
Yes, Joe.
sorry to interject. I find sometimes it's easier actually to, when I'm door knocking, to find to get their actual their mobile number rather than their email. People just think of spam automatically with email, so I find the
Great.
mobile is a lot easier.
Excellent. That's great.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are getting challenged by the phone number and feel like, oh no, I can't get it, it's probably mostly you. It's probably mostly your internal hang up about being too pushy, about, oh, I can't ask for that, or they won't want to give it to me. I find a lot of people, again, it's an aversion that you have that plays out in your dialogue and your body language. So Mandy gave you some great examples there of, you know, keeps the eyes down, starts just to start writing it out. Rachel summarized it really well. You've got to explain the benefit to the customer. If you can explain the benefit to the customer at all times when you're doing listing presentations, that is your best way of getting people to do what you want them to do. What's in it for me? Jasmine, I find it hard to get the email. Mobile is easiest for sure. If on the first point of contact, you're getting mobile over email and you can't get the email, that's the best priority to get it in, because you can call them, you can build a relationship. Hey, it's been 3 months. We've got our new report coming out. Now, I did send the last one by post. Would it be easier if I got this one to you by email? You'll eventually, over time, fill in those missing pieces of geodata. But mobile phone number is way better than having an email. If you're going to have one or the other, you'd rather have the mobile phone. Great. So I'm not selling. We spoke about that before. So I really want you to think about what's in it for the client, as Rachel said, really well put. And, you know, if I'm going to get faced with some objection around, I don't want it, I'm not selling, I don't want to give my phone number, what's in it for them? Why would they give it to you? Think about a couple of recovery lines that you can pull upon. Just by having a recovery line gives them some more time to think. You're asking again. Some people will just feel compelled to give you what you're asking for. So moving on to, I know we're getting to the end of our time here. Use these tools, use something. Don't just go out and door knock or call people and say, hi, my name's Bianca. Are you thinking about selling your home? Because you'll get shut down 92% of the time, remember? So use a tool, have a reason, give them something that's beneficial for them. Ray White exclusive information. We have these amazing reports that's summarizing all of our exclusive Ray White data, only available for Ray White clients. I would love you to get your copy. Think about those powerful, energetic words that Kelly spoke about last time as well. So use some tools. Just lastly, you'll get this dialogue if you reach out for the script of the slide deck. Knocking around listings and sales. Knocking around a sale when you're brand new is probably the easiest way to find any potential low-hanging fruit of potential sales that could be there to be picked up. But it's also a really great story. It'll give you a lot of confidence. So if you are someone who's a little bit challenged by making these calls and these door knocks to strangers, see if you can do some of these calls around your colleagues' sales. You know, if it's not in their core market, if they're happy for you to take the data that comes off that activity, talk to your colleague, your senior agent. Hey, do you mind if I door knock around that sale? It'll give me a lot of confidence. You're the one with that piece of information. Everyone wants to know what the property sold for. Everyone. So use that as your door opener. You can see here on this dialogue here, to get the geo data, just go back to that script we learned, the foundation script. While I've got you there, yes, the property did sell. It was a great result. While I've got you, can I get you this fantastic report? We bring it out every quarter. Would you like your copy by post or email? So just have that in the back of your mind. And once you've opened the door with that great information about the sale, you can obtain the geo data. The listing can be a way of obtaining geo data because you can use that as an excuse to get back in touch with them. Hey, we've just listed the property down the road. I'd love to keep you updated. Can I please grab your best mobile phone and email contact so I can keep you updated about the progress of the sale? Some people will just give you that information. If they don't give it to you then and there, oh, no problem at all. While I've got you, we've got this really great report. Heaps of the neighbours are receiving it. Can I get a copy out to you today by post or email? So you've got another way of trying to get that data from them. Just listing and just sold. And you can do these around your competitors' listings as well. If you have no listings in your office or none of your colleagues have got listings in the office in your new core market, you can be the voice of real estate, absolutely. Just letting you know, there's a property come on down the road with LJ Hooker. I'd love to keep you updated as a suburb specialist. I'd love to let you know when that one sells, what it sells for. What's your best email? What's your best mobile phone number so I can stay in touch? One thing that I would say, and I know I'm really aware that we're over time and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. If you do knock around your competitors' listings, don't be afraid to highlight that it is a competitor's listing. I'll tell you why. It does two things. It highlights that the competitor hasn't done it. You'll find homeowners saying, well, why didn't they tell me? That's a bit strange that they didn't tell me. Hey, look, I'm not sure, but I like to really make sure all the homeowners that I look after are kept well informed about what's happening in the suburbs. So I thought I'd come around and let you know. So you actually undermine your competitors because they haven't done that activity. And then the other thing is, if you don't let them know that it's the competitors, what can sometimes happen in that fog of, oh, I've just received a phone call, I've just been knocked on the door, they might go along and have a look at the open inspection at the weekend and then just join the dots in their head and go, oh, you called me this week and told me about the listing, and they might actually assume that it was LJ Hooker who called them, not Ray White. So the guys at Ray White Frankston, actually, they will send a letter and they will have the LJ Hooker listing in the letter. I called you before, just confirming LJ Hooker have listed the property at 10 Smith Street. As the suburb specialist, I wanted to keep you informed. When it sells, I will let you know what it sells for. So just so they didn't drive people to the competitors. Okay, so that's just a bit of a distinction, but absolutely you can knock around competitors' listings and sales. It's a great way of gathering geodata. So that is our session 2. Do we have any questions before we finish up?
Not a question, but just going back to the dialogue around just listed and just sold. We recently had a training with Josh Teslin, who's like $3.4 million agent up here in Queensland. And he said, so going in with that dialogue, and you can say that it's a neighbour or you can say whatever, even if it's one of your 8 or more senior agents in your office listing in your core suburb, if they'll let you come along to the open home, or they'll just to help them out, or they're about to put up a signboard, he said the best thing that you can offer someone to have that conversation if you're cold calling is a secret. Everyone wants to know a secret. So if you can tell them something before they know it's listed if they've seen a signboard. But if you tell them before the signboard's there, you've told them a secret and you're more valuable to them than the other agent.
100%. Yep, absolutely. If it's your listing, you've got to get there before the board's up, because your competitors will know all about it once the board's up.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Our next session in 2 weeks is going to be delving into open inspection dialogue. So we've got 2 parts for open inspection dialogue. The first one is about getting what you need from the conversation from a stock management perspective for vendor reporting. Okay, the second session on OFI calls is about leveraging the opportunities, appraisals, investor leads, loan leads. So I hope you've had a great time today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been great to see you. Thank you for your participation. My email is in the chat box, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a great night. Thanks, guys.